Hello again out there, music collectors. Edward here back with a video about one of my favorite bands that I came to know 3 years ago. Listening to videos, a few videos. I don't remember the channels, but I came into knowing about the group that I'm going to do this video about. So this video is about FAUST, one of my favorite bands. Now, as far as I know, they still are a present band to this day. So this video is about them, a little history about, a little overview about them. I do recommend them if you want to open another door and veer through into progressive music or experimental music. I will show three things in my collection. I don't have a lot of their stuff, but the stuff that I do have, I really appreciate having in my collection. It visits the turntable quite often. And I do want to show one CD that was released, I forget what year, but I do have my backup notes. So let me begin by this. Now this genre of music that FAUST has been placed under or is under is called Krautrock. And if I may say this, it is a term that or genre that a lot of the bands like Almond Duel, FAUST, and some others don't like that. And I forget why that came about, that title for them. It was developed in West Germany in the late 60s and early 70s. And so bands came out of this period and made such what I consider very, very good music. Now, I want to mention this too. I'd like to, at the end of this video, video like the way I used to have to do papers in a class that I took back in college called Introduction to Humanities, where we would end the paper not by just saying and concluding, but we'd have to say why this piece of art, music, this sculpture should still be around, and why we would put it in a time capsule for keepsake for the next generation to come. So that's how I'm going to end this video. But let me get back to the introduction a little bit. FAUST, formed in 1971, as I mentioned. They're under the genre krautrock. They're experimental rock band, and at times a little ambient. They have a lot of different things going on in their music that can be appealing to listeners. Like I said, that want to veer into more progressiveness, more music that expands and keeps. I would say that they have been an influence, as well as the other bands, Almond Duel, even on some of the, and I can't think of a lot of artists, but they are very influential. I'll put it that way. I hope I said that right. This album is a reissue. It's their very first album. I won't pull it out, but it is a clear vinyl with a clear cover, excuse me, and as you can tell, it's an X-ray of a human fist. And like I mentioned, big revolutionary step in progressive rock. The moods on this one is complex, trippy, and intense, and I love it. Like I said, the album was released in 1971. Recently here I got a reissue of another one of their albums, which I believe is their second or third album, I don't recall. But this is the insert in their album titled FAUST Tapes. That's a picture of the band and then the liner notes. An interesting thing that I did read about this album is that the CD version that was released back in the 2000s has track titles and there are spaces in between the songs. Now, I don't personally own that. I don't mind that being that way. I'm not in a rush to get it, but hopefully that somewhere down the line I'll pick it up. Now, I will show the cover. This is the FAUST tapes. Looks like a newspaper. Right there's the download card, the back cover, and I'll just show side one, just a basic white label. I don't know if you can see that, or sorry about the glare. That says FAUST tapes, side one and side two. And as I mentioned, this is an album also too, experimental, electronic. And as I say, I really believe they have a lot of influences on a lot of ambient and industrial music as well too. I would like to have done for this video little snippets to hear, but what I'll do is I'll leave links to where you can go check it out on YouTube, and then I'll leave a link where I believe it's still up, where the band talks a little bit about the making of their music and what types of things that they did to make this great music that's still here with us. And I appreciate that their companies are out there reissuing. It's very important to me to hear these recordings. Now, I did say that around in 2017, and I do have that, and I have the CD version, they made their 13th studio album, FAUST Fresh Air. This is really, really good. It's alive in the USA. I'm very happy to say one thing that is exciting about this, and it's track number 2. It's called Birds of Texas. Recorded at Nico Studios in Austin, Texas, where I live. That's awesome to know that members of FAUST, or however this was done here in Texas. Now, that's close to home, as we would say. The FAUST tapes sold well in the UK. Like I said, side 1 and side 2 are untitled, and in 2001, according to my notes here, there's a CD version where they have track titles and spaces in between the tracks. I prefer it this way. Side 1 and side 2 are tracks that are untitled. Now, the record sounds a little bit raw, but there's some tape manipulation techniques and just a very good experimental album to listen to. So, that's it. I wanted to come on here. I've been wanting to do this little short, it's a short video. Folks can jump off of some of this information, the links, and veer into their catalog. I do plan to add more of their albums to my collection. Now, as I said, I want to end this by saying these documents of these records, and that they made something that about 3 years ago, should be put in a time capsule for the next generation to come. This is music that is very artful. It's a great listening experience. It opens your minds and ears to all the sounds and the waves of the music, and the vibration can touch you. And I'm just glad that this band took this big revolutionary step into making this music, which I think it should be around from generation to generation. Hope they never go out of print. If they do, they keep printing them. But here's my video on one of my favorite bands. I hope you will enjoy it. FAUST. Until my next video, before I end though, I just want to say again, thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you for all the kind comments. That's awesome. And till my next video, I'll see you then.